The other famous ride in Moab, or one of the other ones, the whole enchilada, also requires excellent fitness. And I've seen training videos on the whole enchilada. I think Dusty Trails, he's got a whole video just on how to train for the whole enchilada. So probably pretty intense. I don't think you could just stay in zone 2 on an e-bike. You know what I mean?
Shots fired. Shots fired. Oh, no. Do we have to explain that?
Do you want to?
I don't know. You just said it. You just said it.
Yeah, okay. You know what? It's been on your mind. This has really been on your mind.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to bring it up? I mean, you could edit it out, I guess. If you're like, do I want to bring it up? You just brought it up.
Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, hold on a second now. Set me up again. I'm not falling for
totally
it.
Set you up. Totally set you up. Totally set you up. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Loam Ranger put out a video. Was it a recent video? I feel like it was a recent video.
Loam Ranger is an awesome mountain bike YouTuber who we both totally respect, totally enjoy. Awesome rider and awesome content provider. Yes. And yes, he recently, a few weeks ago, he put out a video on e-bikes right around when we were getting our e-bike demos. So like the timing really matched up, and I sent it to Sage. But one part of that video really stuck out to you and really kind of got under your crawl. And we've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah. He had mentioned that I think he was arguing for the e-bike, and he made a comment about the fitness of it. And my perception was that all you have to do is train in zone 2 and your fitness will be fine. And it was in reference to a trip that he was taking. So he got invited to do a trip in, I think it was Peru or something like that. It was going to be like mega rides, back to back to back mega rides. And somebody gave him the advice that, all you have to do is train in zone 2 from here out. That's it.
Well,
just
that was the most
training.
efficient way to get fit for that trip in this short amount of time that he had. He's not, he's an excellent downhill rider. Yeah. And, but I don't know that he's a great fitness guy. I mean, he hasn't highlighted that on his channel. So we don't know, but in this, he was talking about going on this trip and he had to get in shape. And the advice he was given was to stay in zone 2 and explain a little bit what zone 2 is real briefly.
So zone 2 is in reference to a heart rate. And so if you can calculate and find out what your heart rate zones are, you know, the highest zone is going to be your max heart rate, and then it progresses 10 beats down. So that's right. So zone 2 would be like pretty low on your heart rate. It's a very low energy workout. You don't have to, in fact, you don't want to put out any kind of effort. And that zone is going to be different for everybody. So Dan, your zone 2 is going to be different from my zone 2, and so on and so forth.
But it's a relatively easy heart rate zone. I would say you can carry a conversation in zone 2, like no problem. You're not breathing heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he had made that comment, and I guess what stuck in my crawl was I wish that he had elaborated on that, because just training in zone 2 isn't always the best answer. I suppose if you were an endurance person, you know, you're doing big marathons or 100-mile races, maybe training more in zone 2 makes sense. But even the guys and girls that are training for those big marathons, they're still doing HIIT workouts too. And I think, you know, he was trying to argue for the e-bike and why e-bikes are good for fitness. And I just kind of thought that was kind of a disservice, you know, like that's not
riding an e-bike in zone 2, which is pretty easy because you're getting electronic assistance. So you can kind of dial in where you want your heart rate to be fairly easily. So he was claiming that riding the e-bike in zone 2 will get you fit for your analog bike. And
that's right.
And I think so, you know, just to interject a little bit, so you can go ahead and continue with your point.
Oh, well, my point is, yes, zone 2 training is important. I train in zone 2 quite often. I do zone 2 rides probably twice a week, once a week at least. But I'm also doing HIIT rides, and I'm doing threshold rides and all kinds of different rides just so that I can be strong on the mountain bike. If I just train zone 2, I'm not sure that I would be in the shape that I'm in right now. And I just wish that he had kind of clarified that a little bit more, or explained what he meant, because I think what he meant was he finished those rides. Like he was able to do the rides, but did you excel at that? Did you finish every day like on top of the world? Were people waiting for you at the top of the climbs? Like we don't know anything, and just to make a blanket statement like e-bikes will keep you fit was, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good selling point when I watched the video, but then as soon as you said that, I was like, well, wait a second. I'm doing these trainer road rides and I'm clicking on like, what plan do you want to do? And it asks you what type of mountain biking you do. Cause I'm on the mountain bike plans. And so I put in like, cross country Olympic or short track and these sorts of things that I think mimic the kind of riding that we do. And there's a base training phase with very little just hanging out in zone 2. And then it's like VO2 max and threshold and sweet spot. And like, it's really, really hard work.
Yeah.
Maybe that zone 2 training is just living in zone 2 for a lot longer. My workouts are, 60 to 90 minutes. So maybe the zone, if you're doing zone 2 for 3 or 4 hours, maybe that gets you, does that prepare you for, charging up a hill at maximum heart rate for a minute and a half? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're riding an e-bike in zone 2 for 3 or 4 hours, does that equate an hour of HIIT workout? Listeners, let us know.
So. I don't know.
Put it in the comments. I mean, who's done this? Who's done the zone 2 training and found that it works? And what are we missing here? Maybe there's things that we just don't understand, but we train really hard and we do, like VO2 max and out of breath and full gas. And then we take that to the trails and we feel pretty good. So I kind of agree that just hanging out in zone 2, unless they're the equivalent of doing that for 3 or 4 hours, makes a big difference. I'd be curious to find out. And I know that we have some listeners that are really, steeped in the training knowledge. So leave us a comment on the YouTube and we can get a conversation going about that.